Leo, there are 10 signs appearing in your life right now that you are not being pushed away from something good. You are being redirected towards something better. And this video will help you see every single one of them clearly. There is a particular kind of pain that comes when life does not go the way you planned. When a door closes that you were counting on. When a relationship shifts in a direction you did not choose. When something you worked for does not land the way you expected. And for Leo, for someone who puts so much heart, so much genuine effort, and so much of themselves into everything they do, that kind of disappointment can feel especially heavy. Because you do not invest halfway. You never have. When you care about something, you go all in. So when the thing you went all in for does not work out the way you hoped, the loss can feel disproportionate to what someone on the outside might understand. But here is what the outside perspective often misses. The closing of one door is not the end of the story. It is the redirection. And redirection, real, genuine, life-changing redirection, never looks like what it is at first. It looks like loss, like setback, like delay, like confusion. And only later, when you are standing on the other side of it, do you see that it was the most important thing that could have happened. There are 10 signs that Leo is currently being redirected for the better. Not redirected towards something smaller or lesser, but towards something that is a truer fit for who you actually are and what you are genuinely meant to build. Stay with every sign. By the time this video ends, the redirection will feel less like loss and more like the gift it truly is. Sign 1. The first sign that you are being redirected for the better, Leo, is that something you worked hard to hold together has been slipping out of your hands despite your best efforts. You tried to maintain it. You adjusted, adapted, gave more, tried differently, and still it kept moving away from you. This persistent inability to hold something in place, despite genuine effort, is one of the clearest signals that life is redirecting you. When something is meant for you, effort moves it forward. When something is not meant for your next chapter, effort starts to feel like swimming against a current, exhausting and ultimately not gaining ground. The fact that this has been happening is not evidence that you failed. It is not evidence that you did not try hard enough or care enough or do enough. It is evidence that the thing you were trying to hold was not the right container for who you are becoming. Redirection always involves releasing something first. The release rarely feels chosen. It feels imposed, frustrating, even painful. But it is doing something essential. It is creating the opening through which the better thing will eventually move. The first sign that you are being redirected is this. The thing you were holding is gently, persistently slipping, and the effort required to grip it tighter has been greater than any effort should honestly have to be. That is not failure, Leo. That is life lovingly loosening your grip on what was never truly yours to keep. Sign 2. The second sign is the appearance of what feels like obstacles, situations, delays, complications that seem to be blocking every path you try to take toward a specific goal or outcome. When a goal is genuinely aligned with your path, obstacles tend to be temporary and workable. They arise, you address them, you move forward. But when obstacles keep regenerating, when every solution creates a new problem, when the path toward a particular thing keeps closing off no matter what angle you approach it from, that is redirection speaking through circumstance. The universe does not always use gentle whispers. Sometimes it uses consistent, unavoidable blockades. Not to punish you, never that, but to ensure that you do not spend the next decade of your life walking in a direction that would eventually leave you empty. Think about the area of your life where this has been happening. Where have you felt repeatedly blocked, repeatedly delayed, repeatedly arriving at the same wall no matter how many times you changed your approach? That area is where the redirection is most active. The obstacles are not your enemy. They are guardrails. They are keeping you from going further down a path that, if followed to its end, would not have given you what you were actually seeking. The second sign is in the patterns of your obstacles. They are too consistent, too repeating, too persistent to be random. They are purposeful. And their purpose is your protection and your eventual redirection towards something that will actually work. If what you're hearing feels accurate, imagine what could happen if you applied this energy intentionally for 21 consecutive days. That's exactly what the 21-day program in the pinned comment is built for. Daily guidance, focused direction, and real momentum. If you're tired of staying in the same cycle, this is your structure. Sign 3. The third sign that Leo is being redirected for the better is the arrival of unexpected quiet. There are periods in life that feel full of movement, plans, people, activity. And then there are periods when that fullness suddenly drops away, and you find yourself in a space that is quieter than you expected or wanted. This kind of unexpected quiet often accompanies redirection because redirection requires recalibration, and recalibration happens in stillness, not in noise. When the busy, forward-moving momentum of life pauses without your permission, the first reaction is often discomfort. Leo thrives in movement. You thrive in engagement. Silence can feel like something is wrong, like you are being left out or left behind. But that is not what the quiet of redirection means. It means you are between chapters. The previous chapter has concluded. The next chapter has not yet fully revealed itself. And in the gap between them, there is only stillness. And in that stillness, the most important reorganization of your energy is taking place. Do not rush the quiet, Leo. Do not fill it frantically with substitute plans and borrowed busyness just to avoid feeling it. The quiet of this particular moment carries information. Sit in it. Let it show you what has been trying to surface through all the noise. The third sign is this unusual, unexpected stillness. And it is not empty. It is full of the beginning of your next right chapter. Sign 4. The fourth sign is one of the most interesting because it is not what you lose but what you gain that signals the redirection. Specifically, you gain clarity about what you do not want. When you are in the middle of a redirection, something shifts in your ability to see certain situations, relationships, and paths with uncomfortable accuracy. Things that you were able to overlook or rationalize before suddenly become impossible to unsee. You notice the dynamic that was always unhealthy but that you were too invested to examine honestly. You see the pattern in a person's behavior that you had been explaining away. You recognize that the goal you were chasing was never really about what you said it was about. It was about something beneath the surface that you can now name. This clarity about what you do not want is one of the great gifts of redirection, even though it does not feel like a gift in the moment. Feels like loss of innocence. Feels like disillusionment. But what is actually happening is that your vision is sharpening to the point where you can finally see what you truly need and go after it directly, rather than spending more years pursuing the approximation of it. The fourth sign that you are being redirected for the better is this new, uncomfortable, undeniable clarity about what does not work for you. And it is clearing the way for you to pursue what genuinely does. Sign 5. The fifth sign is the arrival of new people. People who show up in your life during this period of redirection, and who carry an energy that feels distinctly different from the people in your recent past. They may be gentler, more straightforward, more real, less concerned with impressions and more interested in honest connection. They may share interests or values or perspectives that feel surprisingly aligned with the person you have been quietly becoming, even though you have not made that becoming public. When life redirects you, it often sends scouts, people who belong to the next chapter and who arrive before the chapter is fully written, as though to show you a preview of where you are going. These new arrivals may feel unexpected. You may find yourself wondering how you met someone who fits so well into the life you have been hoping for, but have not yet built. That is not coincidence. It is the universe's way of confirming that the redirection is headed somewhere real and worthwhile. Pay attention to who is arriving in your life right now. Pay attention to who feels genuinely aligned, rather than just familiar or convenient. The fifth sign lives in these new people. They are the faces of your next chapter showing up ahead of schedule. Some people watch, others transform. If you want to be in the second group, the 21-day guide in the pinned comment gives you a clear step-by-step process aligned with your sign. This isn't about waiting, it's about moving. Sign 6. The sixth sign that Leo is being redirected for the better is a growing impatience with compromise. Not the healthy, relational kind of compromise that relationships and communities require, but the deep, essential kind of compromise where you have been asking yourself to be less than you are so that something or someone else can remain comfortable. You have been noticing this impatience more frequently. The moments when you almost speak your truth and then hold back. The situations where you have been accepting less than what you know you deserve. The relationships or circumstances where the version of you that shows up is a smaller, quieter, more contained version than the one that lives inside you when you are at your best. This growing impatience is your spirit refusing to continue accepting the size of life that a misdirected path had assigned to you. The redirection towards something better always comes with an increasing refusal to shrink. Because the better thing, the real destination of this redirection, requires the full version of you. Not the managed version. Not the version that makes itself smaller to avoid conflict. The full, radiant, genuine Leo who has been waiting for permission to take up the space that is actually yours. The sixth sign is this refusal to keep compromising at the level of your essential self, and it is one of the most powerful signs of all. Sign 7. The seventh sign is the return of a dream you thought you had let go. A desire, a vision, a hope that you had put away because circumstances made it seem impossible or impractical, or simply too far from where your life was headed. It surfaces again. Not loudly, not in a way that demands you immediately reorganize your entire life around it, but quietly, persistently. A thought that comes back. An image that returns in your imagination. A feeling of what it would be like to have pursued that thing, to have followed that path, to have built that version of your life. When something you thought you had buried finds its way back to the surface during a period of redirection, it is not nostalgia. It is your inner self insisting that the dream was not wrong, only the timing was not yet right. Redirection sometimes loops you back to an older, truer desire so that you can approach it from a new angle, with new understanding, with the wisdom that the journey since you last held it has given you. The seventh sign that your redirection is for the better is this resurfacing of a dream you thought had passed, because its return means the path toward it is opening again, and this time you are more ready than you were before. Sign 8. The eighth sign lives in your body and in the quality of your rest, and it is this, the deep bone-level exhaustion you have been carrying is just beginning to lift. It is subtle. You may not even be fully sure that it is happening. But there are moments now when you wake up and feel, if not fully rested, at least a degree less heavy than you have been. Moments when your body does not feel like it is working against you. Moments when the fatigue that has been present for months loosens its grip just slightly, just enough for you to notice the difference. That slight lifting is significant because redirection carries its own fatigue in the early stages, the exhaustion of releasing what was not working, of sitting in the uncertainty of what comes next, of holding yourself together through a period when the ground beneath you has been shifting. But when the redirection is genuinely towards something better, the body eventually begins to respond. It begins to recognize that the worst of the releasing is done. It begins to orient toward recovery rather than just survival. The eighth sign is this beginning of physical restoration. The body starting to believe in the better thing before the mind has fully made peace with it. Sign 9. The ninth sign is one of the most profound, and it lives in the way you are beginning to see your own past differently. The experiences that hurt, the relationships that disappointed, the choices that did not lead where you hoped. You are beginning gradually, quietly, to see those not as evidence of your failures, but as the curriculum of your growth. This shift in perspective is not something you manufacture with positive thinking. It is something that arrives on its own when you have genuinely done enough inner work, experienced enough honest reflection, and come through enough difficulty to see from a slightly higher vantage point. From that higher place, the hard things look different. They look like preparation. They look like the precise experiences you needed in order to develop what you now carry. They look like the path that led you here, to this moment, to this awareness, to the version of yourself that is now capable of receiving what the redirection is guiding you toward. The ninth sign is this new, more generous reading of your own history, and it is one of the clearest signs that you are genuinely moving forward, rather than simply running away from what was hard. Sign 10. The 10th sign that Leo is being redirected for the better is the most encompassing and the most final, because it is the one that ties every other sign together and gives it meaning. It is the arrival of a deep, quiet sense that all of this is going to be all right. Not a forced optimism, not a determination to feel good regardless of circumstances, but a genuine, grounded, felt knowing that the difficulty you have been navigating has a direction, and the direction is good. This knowing may arrive as a moment of unexpected peace in the middle of a day that has no obvious reason for peace. It may come in the form of a small event, something simple, something that would seem insignificant to anyone else, that feels like a signal. It may come in a conversation, or in a dream, or in a moment of solitude when something inside you simply relaxes and says, "Yes, this is right. This is where we are going. This is the right direction." When that knowing arrives, Leo, when it lands in you as something genuinely felt rather than merely hoped for, that is the 10th and final sign that your redirection is not a punishment, not a detour, not a mistake. It is the most purposeful, most care-filled thing that could have happened to you at this point in your journey. Trust it. You are not lost. You are being guided. And where you are being guided is better than anything you were heading toward before. You have two options after this video: close it and hope things shift, or decide that the next 21 days will be different. If you choose the second, the structured 21-day transformation aligned with your sign is waiting in the pinned comment. The energy is already moving, the only question is whether you are. Leo, redirection is not the end of the road. It is the road finally becoming what it was always meant to be. These 10 signs are your confirmation. The better thing is real, it is closer than it looks, and it has been waiting for you to be ready to receive it. You are ready. Move forward.